What's going on, you guys? Welcome to the Joy Area Sports Show. We are live here on a Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time. I'm joined by the great Raj of our SF 49ers. Guys, if you're not following our SF 49ers on Instagram, I don't know if you're on TikTok or not, but on X, everywhere you go, you should be following our SF 49ers. Premium content. He's on top of his shit, I'll tell you that. We just had a conversation about that, too. I was like, I don't know how you do it, but you do a phenomenal job. Raj, dude, what's going on, man?
Not much, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for being here, or for letting me be here. Definitely, I stay on top of things so much, my boy, that I got a nosebleed. So that's how you do it.
We thought we cracked the case with that one. I was like, oh, I get it now, but no.
A lot of people think that. No doubt. But you're not right on that one. But happy to be here.
Well, thank you, man. Dude, I appreciate you coming on here. There's been a lot of talk, and obviously we're going to be talking about Brandon Ayuk. There's been a bunch of cryptic posts that he's been kind of putting out there that everyone's been kind of running with. There's even been some talk about Christian McCaffrey that I think can really get debunked within a few seconds. But the biggest news, I think, is, of course, the news of Bryce Huff. Now, Bryce Huff was acquired last week, towards the end of the week, via trade with the Philadelphia Eagles. I thought this was a phenomenal trade. We learned today that he will rock number 47 like he did in New York and not number 0 like he did in Philly. This, to me, is a fantastic move because this gives the Niners so much more flexibility on the defensive line. It allows you to not only have a third down pass rusher that you can bring in the game, but it takes pressure off of Mykel Williams to kind of do his own thing and mature into his role. Because, I mean, look, if you don't get Bryce Huff, then every third down, you're like, Mykel, you got to get pressure on the quarterback, and so now that takes that pressure off of him, and you can go with a real NASCAR package that features, Bryce Huff, Mykel Williams, Alfred Collins, and Nick Bosa. I mean, that's huge. So, Raj, let me ask you, what's your take on the acquisition of Bryce Huff?
Yeah, I was hyped up, just like you said. It's going to take pressure off of everybody on that D-line, especially Mykel Williams. He's the rookie. He's the edge setter. He's the guy that's going to come in, stuff the run. Eventually, he can become a good pass rusher. But I love this because if you look at this roster that the 49ers have, you look at it, you're like, okay, you got Nick Bosa, and who else is going to rush the quarterback? Well, I know Yeturgos Matos is there, but he missed a handful of games last year. Sam, I like him, but you don't think of him as like a premium pass rusher. He's got a good rotation guy. Now you have a guy that's coming in with a chip on his shoulder. He played terrible last year with the Eagles. He knows it, but it was a scheme kind of fit issue. A lot of people have said it. Brandon Graham, Chris Kasurk has noted it. And now you have a guy that's going to go out there, play with a chip on his shoulder. The best football he's ever played was with the Jets with Robert Saleh. And guess what? The 49ers brought him back this year, so I think it's going to be a good reunion. I think he's going to be hyped up. Sometimes that change of scenery is what players need. And you know what? If he wants to get paid, he's got to go out there and produce. So I like it. And getting that 47 back, it's like he's going back to his old self. I think it's
exactly
like, right, going back to my old self. Let's go. Bosa's hyped up. Bosa today in his press conference like, hey, I looked at his film back when he was with the Jets to kind of study pass rush technique. This guy's a good pass rusher, but with the Eagles, they have high expectations, and I think the Niners do too, but they needed some depth because outside of, like I said, Sam look at Robert Beal. The guy has been a bust. Drake Jackson, he's cut because he couldn't stay healthy. So
gone. Yep.
Huge get for the 49ers, and it really didn't cost them much. So I liked it.
It really didn't. And when we look at this post from Spotrac, this kind of breaks down the trade in terms of how much the Niners are actually taking on in terms of his contract. The Niners acquire Bryce Huff in 2025. They're going to be paying him $7.95 million in 2026. 17.1. Now that could be changed as well based on if they renegotiate and kind of change the contract, or if he sucks, he won't even be here next season. So it's really no harm coming to the 49ers. On the other end, the Eagles do get a 2026 fifth-round pick, which a lot of people were kind of playing it up like, oh, why are they hiding the pick? It wasn't announced yet. You know what I mean? And really, if you're giving up a fifth-round pick or even which could be a fourth-round pick for Bryce Huff, I think that's worth that trade to get a player like him. And Philly takes on dead cap hits of $4.93 million and $16.61 million. And After reading this, a lot of Eagles fans were like, "Oh, we fleeced them. They got this bum player." But no, here's the thing: he was not a fit in the Vic Fangio system. We know that he's better in the wide nine. He had more success under Robert Saleh, so this was a win-win for both teams. The Eagles were looking to move him, even back during the draft. They wanted to move him, but they had a higher asking price. So what did San Francisco do? They waited. They waited for that price to come down, and they were able to make the move and bring this guy to San Francisco back under Robert Saleh and have him work with Chris Kasarik. I think this is a phenomenal trade. It deepens our defensive line. It makes our pass rush so much better having this guy out there, especially on third down.
Yeah, 100%. You nailed it all the points you said, 100%. And that's the thing. It was a low-risk kind of situation for 49ers. We've been screaming since last year, go get Bosa some help. They did it. I don't know how you could complain. And, yeah, if it becomes a fourth-round pick for the Eagles, that means he did good for the 49ers. So either way, it's a good deal for both teams, right? The Eagles want to get a fourth-round pick. If they do, that means he probably played really damn well for the 49ers, which is what we want him to do. If they get a fifth-round pick and he doesn't play that good, like you said, he's going to get cut anyways next year. So I think he's going to play good because, again, he's back with Robert. He's motivated. I think he wants to prove that last year with the Eagles was not his best self, and I think the Fangio situation is 100%. A lot of people have noted that, but I really feel that sometimes you need to step away from one place, and maybe mentally he got a big contract last year and it was like getting to him, and maybe he's all right, I'll go back to the Niners here, prove myself. And again, at the end of the day, the Niners needed depth because that was a huge issue last year with all over the team. I know they had Leonard Floyd, but he just didn't look like that kind of guy. They were paying him, $10 million? So I feel like they needed to upgrade. And Bryce Huff, 27 years old. So I think the other part of this is the 49ers said it earlier in the offseason. They're trying to get younger, and this kind of fits their MO. 27, that's like the prime of a guy's career. I think this is a great get for the 49ers overall. They just needed depth. And the 49ers really looked into defense during the draft. So it looks like a real big roster overhaul, especially on that D-line, which was paltry last year. They couldn't stop the run. They couldn't get to the quarter. They couldn't do anything right. So,
they couldn't do anything right.
They really revamped that entire defensive line. If you're not excited about the prospects of the season as a Niner fan, I don't know what to tell you.
Well, and one of the questions that was posed to me over the week was that who would you rather have? Would you rather have Bryce Huff or would you rather have Leonard Floyd? And if you ask me, I'd rather have Bryce Huff. I think that he's more of that speed rusher that you need. I felt that Leonard Floyd, though he had a good year, I think he ended the season with 10 sacks. Or was it 8.5 sacks?
It was 8.5, I think.
Yeah. He didn't have that bull rush speed that Bryce Huff has. He kind of did that, he'd rush in, stop, and cut back inside. And he was, I think that he's a better player if you surround him with a lot of talent. So, like, for instance, if he was on this team right now with Bryce Huff, with Mykel Williams, then gravy. You're like, hey, I love it. Gives us a different look and more options. But it's crazy how they got rid of him and he immediately went to Atlanta for $10 million. And then they went and traded and picked up James Pierce Jr., who's like a carbon copy of Leonard Floyd, long, lanky, and rely on their speed. So, man, I would rather have Bryce Huff. Who would you rather have, Leonard Floyd or Bryce Huff?
I mean, I think I'd like Bryce Huff again because he's played with Saleh before. I feel like he's gonna kind of get back to his old self. But not to say I was definitely excited to see Leonard Floyd on the team before. But you make a good point because he played really well with the Rams. They had Aaron Donald on that team. I mean, he's probably one of the best of all time. So I feel like he wasn't like that elite power rusher that we expected coming out of free agency. Like, I thought he was going to come in and just be this monster, which he was okay. But early in the season, it took us some time to get his feet wet and kind of get down with the system that the 49ers run. And then when Bosa came down, he did kind of step up a little bit, have a better second half of the season. But overall, I don't think he was worth the $10 million that the 49ers gave him last year. So I think that was a cost that they needed to cut. And I think Bryce Huff, again, Niners are, like you said, that you showed the stats, paying him about $7 to $8 million. Philadelphia has to pay some of that themselves. So it's not like the Niners are paying all of that contract. So I feel like they save money. They get a guy that has a higher potential, who's younger, who can probably get more sacks on third down. And that's what it is. If they can stop the run on the first 2 downs, you got Mykel Williams, you got CJ West, you got Alfred Collins, you have all these big guys. You get it to 3rd and 8, you go and put Bryce Huff and Nick Bosa, line them up. I'd be pretty scared if I was a quarterback going up against them.
Yeah, absolutely. And then when you look at like the what could be like their NASCAR package, when we're talking about Huff, Williams, Collins, and Nick Bosa, this is one of the things I was talking about earlier today on the Dre Area Sports Show with Drew and Dre. We do that every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. When you look at the dimensions of the defensive linemen that are on that, let's say NASCAR package, it reminds me a lot of D Ford, Eric Armstead, DeForest Buckner, Nick Bosa. You got these big, tall, long guys in Collins and Williams, and you got these 2 speed rushers on the edges with Huff and Bosa, like you had with D Ford and Bosa. So I think the potential is there for this defensive line to be as dominant as they were in 2019. Now, granted, a lot of that defensive line had played together for a number of years, so they had a good familiarity with each other. Probably one of the biggest mistakes they ever made was getting rid of DeForest Buckner. I don't know why they did that. But when you look at these stats, this is something else that I want to show you. When you look at the stats that we'll put up today by Next Gen Stats, this is the highest quarterback pressure rates since 2022. So this actually includes last season. Bryce Huff is still number 2 in the league, right behind Micah Parsons for the highest QB pressures in the league. This is cumulative. This is not just the year 2022. This is since 2022. And he's ahead of Trey Hendrickson and Myles Garrett.
That's
I mean,
insane.
to me, this says everything. Like, man, this is how good this guy can truly be. I mean, when you read stats like this, Raj, I mean, what do you think about these kind of numbers?
Yeah, even in a bad year last year, he's still among the best at generating pressures. That tells you he is a pure pass rush specialist. Like, he might be a one-trick pony, but that one trick he does is phenomenal. And yeah, like I said, Leonard Floyd last year, he was a cleanup kind of guy specialist. And I think also with Matos last year, they kind of had to move him around in places that he didn't really fit on that line. But I think now if they can stay healthy, which they addressed that D-line this offseason, like I said, in the draft, if this man could just sit there, stay on those 3rd down pass rush, and be that guy, this man's going to sit there and probably better than a 19.9 because now he's healthy, play with the chip on his shoulder, like we said. This man's going to flat out just fly to the quarterback. And, a lot of people have mentioned it. I think a lot of people have thrown the comparison out there. I've seen it on Twitter, whatever, all the social media sites. They're saying, hey, he looks like D Ford. And as long as he's not the injured D Ford, I think that's huge. You make a good point. That 2019 defensive line was outstanding. If they would have all stayed healthy together, I mean, holy smokes. Because D Ford, when he was in, it was scary. Him and Bosa were just flying to the quarterbacks. And that's exactly what I envisioned. And I think that's what Robert envisions. He knows what this guy can do. He's coached him before. His best season was with our new defensive coordinator. So absolutely love the stat. Again, he's basically 19.9, 20.0, literally the same with Parsons. And that was a bad season for Huff. So that tells me this man can flat out get to the quarterback and get pressure. And you know what? The more pressures you start, racking up, you're probably going to get sacks. And even if you don't get the sack and you're generating those pressures, quarterbacks are going to be uncomfortable. They're going to make bad plays. That's what we need. We need to force turnovers. Last year, I feel like I don't even remember. See, the only turnover I really remember last year was the Fred Warner pick six. And I think like Diamond Lenore got an interception, maybe.
Yeah, he did.
And like a block punt. That was literally all I
the
remember.
block punt. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
That's it. And the Fred Warner pick six, that led to his injury. That's when he hurt himself. It was like, so it was bittersweet. You're like, oh no, just go down next time. Fuck. But looking at these numbers, man, I mean, look, if you had Micah Parsons or you had Trey Hendrickson or Myles Garrett on this team, you would say, dude, this is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Any one of those three, you'd say, dude, not unstoppable. These guys are going to dominate. So if you get Bryce Huff, who's right there with those guys, to me, this tells you, hey, look, this guy's going to make a huge difference for San Francisco.
I agree. Yeah. It's amazing. Amazing.
And then we had some video footage because, yesterday that's when the coaches addressed the media. And this is what Coach Kasarik had to say about Bryce Huff. And let's listen to him right here.
Chris, what do you see about as far as the evolution of Huff? He came into the league.
Who's that guy talking?
He didn't produce a lot early. He's produced a lot over the last 3 years for the most part, if you look at the pressure rates.
Yeah, just a self-made man in the NFL. Anytime an undrafted rookie, works and grinds his way through and then, makes the team and then becomes a productive player within a scheme and then becomes a double-digit type sacker in the NFL. It's a self-made man. There's a lot of hard work behind the scenes that goes into it because, undrafted guys are a little bit behind the eight ball from the start, just as far as just making the team and then to really excel within a role and then to really truly carve out a role and become one of the, the top players as far as some of the get-off metrics and some of the pressure metrics. And then, his last year there with the Jets, the sack production followed it all. He's a self-made man. It's a lot of hard work that went in behind the scenes to get to that point.
So a lot of good things he said there about Bryce Huff, and he did talk about last season as well. Now, we know that Bryce Huff was dealing with a number of injuries last season. He only played in 7 games, had 2.5 sacks. He had a wrist injury he was dealing with. And in fact, it's funny, in that next-gen stats picture, he was wearing a brace on his on his right hand. I was like, oh, there it is. So a lot of things were slowing him down. I mean, the guy, unfortunately, was a non-suited player for the Super Bowl, but they were deep. I mean, that was a deep defensive line.
They didn't need him. They didn't
need him. I mean, hey, I bet you and I could have suited up. They still would have won that game.
You probably
they were just running through. Dude, they ran through that O-line like diarrhea, dude. They were just like, get out of the way. Come here. It was great.
Crazy, man. I hate the Eagles, but yeah,
I hate the Eagles too. But here's the thing too, though, and this is kind of a side note that I've always noticed is that every time the Niners lose to the Chiefs, the following year, the Chiefs get back there and get their ass kicked. But both times when they lost to the Buccaneers and to the Eagles, I thought that that's how the game was going to go for the Niners. I was like, wait, why didn't we have this game? What the hell? Like, especially the Buccaneers game, I was like, dude, I thought that our defensive line was just going to tear them apart. Yeah. But it just didn't happen. I don't know. I can't really explain that. And I don't really... It's a tough thing to even focus on at this point. But another thing I wanted to bring up to you was obviously we're in our next round of OTAs. We saw some footage today of a lot of different players. Here's one of them right here. This is the great Christian McCaffrey looking real fast. Look at that. I mean, and look, we're talking about OTAs. Look, he's running around cones. He's going through drills. Obviously there's a lot of talk from other content creators that he looks slow. I don't really take much merit into what they were saying. I think, look, he looks healthy. He looks determined. I think he's going to have a really big year coming off that injury. What do you think about the comments that he looks slow? Do you see any signs of him slowing down?
I don't see it, man. I don't know. He looks pretty buttery smooth to me. But at the same time, we're watching a clip. If you weren't there, and a lot of people that are saying he looks slow are watching a clip. If you're not seeing it in action with your eyes and like in live action speed, it's silly to say someone looks slow. But the biggest takeaway from CMC being there, he's there. He's healthy. He's not having any setbacks. And that's what the thing is. He looks like he has a pep in his step. He looks like he has the juice in his legs. He doesn't look like he's limping. He doesn't look like he's hampered by anything. That, to me, is the biggest takeaway is CMC is healthy. And you know what? Maybe he is running a bit slow because guess what? He doesn't want to go full speed in OTAs in the middle of May, dude. Because if you wear CMC out now, we're gonna have a whole conversation of, oh my God, what a terrible situation.
What have they done?
So the Niners are being very careful, and in this situation with him being careful, the bubble. I feel like maybe they are putting bubble wrap on him, but even still, he looks pretty damn good to me. I mean, that's my takeaway on it.
No, absolutely, and I think getting back Christian McCaffrey is it's a huge upgrade for the entire offense, and not just the running game, but for the passing game, the running game, everything. And so even John Lynch said it that about McCaffrey. He said he looks good. He looks good to me. He looks bouncy. He looks explosive. I can tell you this: he's put in the work, and he looks great out there. And that's the thing is that I think that he's poised to have a huge season, a huge rebound season after all the shit that he went through last season.
Yeah, He does. He looks like he's going to be in the argument for comeback player of the year. If he can stay healthy, and again, that's the key because this man unlocks everything for the 49ers offense. The offense was not what it was without CMC. Red zone failed. How many times did you bet on your sleeper picks the year before? Christian McCaffrey, anytime touchdown. That wasn't an option last year. So the 49ers
No,
touchdowns last
it
year.
was not.
They didn't have him. This
It
man
wasn't.
gets him in the end zone. He's a big force. He opens up the passing game. Hell, Jimmy Garoppolo looked good for a handful of games when he was on the Niners. So, I mean, this guy changes everything. Keep him healthy. And I feel, again, the biggest takeaway is what John Lynch is saying is, hey, he looks good. He looks healthy. Kyle Shanahan says he looks healthy right now. So they're the ones seeing him on the field. And I feel like just, again, him being there is the biggest takeaway. If he's maybe running at a 4.6 blip of speed instead of a 4.2, I don't care because it's still pretty damn fast. So.
No, I agree. I agree. And even if, when you look at his numbers from 2023,
Yeah.
I mean, his rushing yards, he was first. Rushing yards before contact, first. Rushing yards after contact, first. 10 yards plus runs, first. RYOE, I don't know what that means. First.
Yeah, RYOE, baby, whatever that is, he was the best at it, baby.
He was the best. But when you look at these numbers from 2023, this tells you how important he was to our offense. We saw how many times Deebo Samuel was lined up in the backfield, basically playing Christian McCaffrey in that play, and it was not the same. It really wasn't. And I do think that not having McCaffrey took away from Deebo, because then it was just like, okay, Deebo's in the backfield, so they're probably going to give him the ball. So let's make sure we tackle him. You know what I mean? He's like, okay. Yeah, it just he wasn't fooling anybody.
No.
Like, Deebo would get the ball, and he looked fat at time, or I should say he looked slow. He was like, he couldn't turn the corner.
Yeah, he looked slow down.
Now, he has a number of injuries. He even had a rib injury he's dealing with. And look, if I had a rib injury, I wouldn't be playing football. I'd be laying in bed.
I broke my ribs before, and it's a painful injury. And I think he had pneumonia. I've had pneumonia before. It's pretty tough to – I'm not giving any excuses. He's not on the Niners anymore. I don't owe him that. But he did go through a myriad of issues last year. So, you give him – but yeah, not having CMC affected the entire offense last year, not just Deebo. And like, look, dude, the stat that's killing me right here, 10-plus yard runs. This man had 44 yards of 10-plus. That's insane. That's first down, dude. 44 times. That is fucking incredible to me. That's a hell of a stat. Look at that. That's great. That could change the complexity of so many games right there. Holy smoke.
Absolutely. No, like, it just shows you the impact that he has on the team, and I'm just so glad he's back. Look, J.P. Mason played really good last season. I thought he ran, with some ferocity, and he was hitting the holes really well. But at the end of the day, he's not Christian McCaffrey. He was the non-threat out of the backfield as a receiver. Defenses barely pay attention to him. They're just like, they won't throw him the ball. And I think that was a problem, is that they needed to throw him the ball more often. And then late in the season, they started to figure out, oh, hey, we can throw the ball to Isaac Guerrero out of the backfield, because the guy was a receiver in high school. Yeah. And we saw some big plays out of Isaac Guerrero. So I think Guerendo's going to have a good year. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey's going to have a monster year. And really, it's like, look, I know he had the micro tears in both of his Achilles, but it almost kind of feels like he should have just played, and he probably would have been just fine. Who knows?
I don't know, man. Just because I'm PT, if he would have played through it and he tore his Achilles, then we would have been so pissed off. So
it'd be over.
I think they did it the right way. They played it safe. He went into Germany, got his, all his treatment and stuff. I think they played it right, but I feel like when he came back, it was honestly a freak injury. The PCL, nobody gets a PCL injury. The only way you normally get that is a car accident where your knee goes through the dashboard. That's literally the mechanism of injury 90% of the time, and he got a weird injury. I think that was the game that he probably shouldn't have played, if anything. But the other takeaway is play your other damn running backs. You have Isaac Guerrero. You drafted a couple running backs, right? And then you still have Patrick Taylor. Like, they have some good guys. Instead of making CMC go up the middle for 1 yard, let one of your other guys do it. Give them those carries. Those are like wasted touches that I don't feel like CMC needs to have. Because, again, we said we need to save him, get him healthy for the playoffs, make sure he's there for the stretch run. Those weird little 1 yard dive plays, don't let CMC do it. He's great at explosive plays, catching the ball, like you said. And I did see them use Guerrero in that situation. And I think he's going to be that kind of guy this year. where they
Yeah.
utilized like Debo before he was having that wide back, catching out the backfield. Let Garendo do that and kind of give CMC a little bit of a break. Because if they wear him down by week 7, all this we're talking about doesn't even matter.
Yeah, no, I think they definitely overworked him the year we went to the Super Bowl, and it showed because he fumbled. He fumbled in the Super Bowl, and this guy never fumbles. It was just like, what? Why now? I don't understand. So we'll see how that plays out with Christian McCaffrey. I just think that a lot of people are focusing on the fact that, oh, he's hurt or not hurt. I'm sorry, he's coming back off an injury. He might not be himself. And I think in reality, it's like, look, you're getting a guy that led the league in so many different statistical categories. You should be excited to get this guy back because he's going to make a huge difference for this team. This is like not having Brock Purdy as your quarterback the whole year, and you had to go with Brandon Allen. Like, oh God, that'd have been horrible.
That was terrible when we did have to go. It's like the Warriors not having Steph, man. You go with Brandon Pajemski in the second round against Minnesota. That's how it is to me. So we get our
go Warriors.
Go Warriors, baby. We got our Steph back. We need him.
I know.
Back.
Pajemski was like, I can't make a shot right now, but I'm just going to keep dribbling around. So the next thing I wanted to bring up was some more news coming out of OTAs, especially coming today out of OTAs. This actually comes courtesy of Vic Taffer, and I got his info from you. Okay, well, so if you can, just go ahead and retweet it. Just don't repost it, okay?
Yeah, for sure.
It was this news right here, which is Trent Williams is back at OTAs. He's in the facility. He's in the building, and he was out there on the field doing drills with the team. This is a fabulous sign for San Francisco. I love seeing him out on the field. And we know last season he wasn't even there for OTAs. He didn't even show up. He wasn't even there for preseason. Minicamp, nothing. He showed up last minute. Was like, "Yo, I got this."
Yeah, we good.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is that I don't think he was really ever in shape. I don't think he was in football shape. By week 4, week 6, he started falling apart. Mm-hmm. He was getting injuries. He was missing games. I think last season I'm sure he worked out, but when you're not in there doing the reps, doing the exercises with the teams. Or with the team, it makes a huge difference, and he didn't look like himself last season, and he missed a lot of games, and at one point, they pretty much just shut him down. Raj, let me ask you, what do you think about Trent Williams being at OTAs this early?
That's a huge jolt for the younger guys to see, because, again, he's well-respected. This is Trent Williams. When he retires, he's going to be an automatic Hall of Famer. He's probably going to be a first-ballot Hall of Famer. He's probably one of the best offensive lineman in the history of the game. And, it's like one of those things you kind of have to walk on eggshells. Oh, he doesn't want to play today? Cool. He doesn't want to come practice? They give him days off, vet days. But the fact that he's showing up is like, oh, damn, Trent, you're serious this year. And you're right. I think the other takeaway is, we know he sits there and trains on the off season. He's a football player. They all train. Like, breaking news, they train. But I think the thing is, he is showing up now, and he's going to be in better condition. Because last year, the contract issue, he was sour grapes about his money. Oh, yeah, I'll be there. Don't worry. He just pulls up. All of a sudden, it's like you don't have to teach Trent Williams to play football. He could teach a class. He could do anything. He knows the game. But to keep his body in shape at 37, 38? And to get old, your body needs to be conditioned. You need to be out there just going through the motions. He looked good today. They showed the videos, a lot of clips of him going out there. Just being there in May is huge. And I think that sends a big signal to the rest of this team that's like, oh, we're serious this season, because now you got guys like Nick Bosa, George Kittle. All these guys are there who normally won't even show up till training camp. So I think it's a good message. I think the team is saying, hey, man, we need to get back to our winning ways. You got our captains, our leaders. They're serious, and they're teaching these younger guys, because this team did draft 11 players. And last year they had a big draft class too. So it's still a very young team. But to have all your key veterans come in and show that, hey, we're just because I'm 37, I'm 10-time Pro Bowler or whatever the stats are, doesn't mean that I'm exempt from this too. I'm here. It's voluntary, but I'm showing you I want to be serious this year. So, yeah, A, it's good for his conditioning, and B, I think it's good for the morale of the team. And, man, Trent Williams healthy is the key to this offense. You want Christian McCaffrey to run for, 400 yards a game or whatever, 4 touchdowns a game, you need to make sure Trent Williams is there, because if he's running behind anybody else, it's not happening.
Yeah, and I think that like you were saying, showing that sense of leadership is something good, especially with all the young guys there. We saw last year he didn't get there until basically like the day before the season started. That's what it felt like. And on top of that, another player that had the same kind of thing going on was Brandon Ayuk, and we saw how he looked last season. He did not look the same. I don't think he was in football shape. I think he started to get back into shape, and then he got hurt. But he was a shell of himself than what he was the year before.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. There were some posts about Brandon Ayuk that I wanted to go over really quick because people made a lot of big deals about this, and that's why I named the stream, about Brandon Ayuk. Does he want out? Because people were running with this. So let's go ahead and take a look at the first tweet, or I should say the post on Instagram that I have right here, which is him pushing back at the fans. There's got to be an age limit on hating. If you're 30 years old and older, just post your kids and shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? It's like, whoa, dude. Whoa. So, and to me, this is like a Kevin Durant post where it's kind of like, dude, KD, don't pay attention to the fans, dude. Don't do that. But he couldn't help himself. He's a weird guy. And I'm sorry, Brandon Ayuk, I think he's kind of weird like that. I think he has a little KD in him where he can't help himself but say weird shit on social media.
Yeah, he needs a better PR guy because he'll just say whatever's on his mind. I think he gets bored quickly too. And also, he's been rehabbing. He can't go full steam.
Yep.
He sees all his teammates, OTAs, whatever. He's been he's been recovering. He's been going through whatever he has to do. As a PT, I know it's tough on people going through, recovery, rehab, whatever injury you have, whatever disease, whatever you got, it's tough. So sometimes you sit there, you get caught up, you see all the social media. He's probably doom scrolling on social media, and he gets tired of it because, hey, as much as he kind of acted the way he acted last year. Let's be honest. He was a diva last year, and we all know like a lot of fans are kind of soured on how he acted. The shorts incident, holding out, and then finally reporting, just the bad attitude. Like it rubbed the people the wrong way. But at some point, we just got to get over it. He's on the team, and if he comes back this year and has a massive season, we're all going to be cheering. Oh my God, BA! Oh, the route runners! We're going to be hyped up. So I feel like we just got to get over it. But this is him finally reaching his limit with everybody hating on him. Because if you go to social media, if you go to my social media pages, the comments yesterday were they were like, this guy. Because, he first posted the picture of T.O. working out on the driveway, which we'll talk about. And the comments were like, hey, what a child, what a guy. And like everything he posts now gets like so analyzed to the T because of last year. So I feel like it's just him saying, look, man, I get it. Get over it. I'm tired of the haters. And, if you're 30 years old, just post your kids and move along. Don't come and hate on me. Like, what are you doing? Right? So I kind of feel his irritation here, but at the same time, he brought it on himself. He did. Kind of on his own. But I just think the Niner fans are so fed up with this guy because of last year's drama. Like, if you look at the comments, again, on social media, 90% of our people are like, oh, my God, this guy's drama. He's a diva. They don't want him in here. And I'm sure he's probably like feeling that, like, damn, these guys don't even care about me. Why do I want to be here? But part of it, too, is I think he is bored not being included with the team right now.
Yeah, no, I that's what I think it really is. That he's bored. Posting the picture of T.O. doing the sit-ups, I'm like, what is going on? Why are you posting that? And for anyone who doesn't know, back in 2005, I think we said earlier, Terrell Owens got into an argument with Andy Reid, of all coaches. Andy Reid suspended him. He went straight home and started working out on his driveway, answering questions with fucking Drew Rosenhaus, his agent, standing right there like, oh, yeah, look how well. Also answering questions. And it's just like, it was such a shit show. And then he later was released, and then he signed with the Cowboys. Of course, he was the Cowboys. I'm like, oh, my God. And nothing really good happened there anyway, but the fact that he posted that picture, I was like, what? Why are you posting that for? And look, maybe it wasn't football related, Niner related. Maybe he posted it because he thought it was a funny picture. But people read way too much into this, and they're like, okay, he's mad. He wants out. He doesn't want to be here anymore. And then he also posted this, and I guess this was on, what's my mouse at? This was on YouTube, which I don't know how that. He says they want to play cool now. Nah. What was it?
It was the F word. I posted this too. Yeah, it was like, they want to play cool now. Now, no. I want the smoke still. He's been posting. If I've been kind of tracking this guy, he's been posting on his YouTube like the posts, where you can post like a regular post,
Yeah.
and he's just been posting stuff. So people have been. So that was also something that got thrown into the airwaves.
This is yours too, then.
I think someone else posted, but mine was similar to that. It's similar. It was the same thing, but it's a different picture back.
I can't beat this guy. I can't beat him. Raj is he's too quick. He's like a machine.
No, but
go ahead.
what I'm saying is, Brandon Ayuk has been venting himself out. I think it's just, again, social media is a way for him to kind of express his feelings. He's posted a lot on social media, on his YouTube. He'll post like what he's been doing. He's vlogging his life and things like that. So again, I really think he's just bored, but he's also saying like, I think his overall message with the TO thing, because if you remember, people were questioning if TO is going to be ready for the season because he had gotten missed some games. He got a little injuries. And I think Brandon Ayuk is basically saying like, I've been recovering. I'm ready. I'm going to be working out and ready for the season. I think that's the biggest takeaway. And on this one, like they want the smoke that now they want to switch up and support me, but I'm going to be ready because I think that's his biggest takeaway is, I'm going to be ready for the season. And I want to show you that I'm working and again, like T.O. in the driveway working out is symbolic to maybe him. He's been doing his thing. And if the media wants to come to my driveway, come on over. I'll give you a show,
I mean, last season he had a number of bad drops where they were in his hands and he just, oh shit, my bad. He did it against the Chiefs. He did it week 1 against the Jets. That was the worst one, was against the Jets. It was a beautiful pass. In fact, I have it right here, and we can see this real quick.
There for the Jets. Second down, end zone.
No.
And it was right in his hands.
Jesus.
Look at that. There's the ball. Look at right there.
I know.
And the worst part about this though is that it was coming off the heels of this big, this long, the hold in. Remember what they call it, the hold in?
Yeah.
And finally we get him out there, and I swear, if he makes that catch, it changes everything. Everyone's like, woo!
We're going, yeah.
He's amazing. Worth every penny.
All is forgiven. The fact that we won, I'm just glad we won that game, because had they lost that game, then you flip it away. This is why we shouldn't have paid this guy. He's So, he needs to come correct this season. I think the biggest thing is like, okay, I get it. He's going on social media and he's expressing himself. I think he needs to be quiet at the end of the day and just let his game do his talking for him.
Absolutely.
But again, I think he just gets bored pretty easily, counting his money.
I mean, Jedi says send those clips back at his acting out. Yeah, when he acts out, just send those. Like, remember this? Remember this? If you watch his highlights, though, as the season went on, he was getting better and better. He was getting, and then he got hurt. And that was at the last slap in the face from the Chiefs. Like, we beat you again, and we took out your receiver. See you, losers. Like,
Nah, that was brutal, man.
I hate the Chiefs. They bully the Niners so much. When it comes to the Chiefs, it's kind of like Madison Bumgarner against the Royals. They just couldn't overcome it. They're just like, oh my god. So we'll see how he plays this year and when he comes back. When do you think he's going to come back? I don't think he'll be back until maybe like week 6.
Yeah, I'm thinking week 8, around that time, 8, 9. I think midseason is probably the best, observation, the best guess. Because if you think about it, let's say he starts on the PUP. You got to miss 4 weeks, and then they activate him. You get that 21-day window to practice. I feel like they'd utilize that entire 21-day window. So that's 4, 3, week 7, 8-ish, around that mark. I feel like if all goes well and he has no setbacks, I think it's going to be like midseason, 8, 9, somewhere around there.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the questions I want to ask you, too, is wide receiver help. Do you think the Niners should look to bring in at least one more receiver, knowing that they're not going to have Brandon Ayuk till maybe mid-season? Demarcus Robinson's going to be suspended for 3 games because he's a stupid DUI. So are you going to roll half the season with Juwan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall, who's hurt already, Watkins, Cowing? Is this a receiving core that you can roll with? I think they got to bring in somebody else. I think a guy like Amari Cooper makes a lot of sense for them.
Yeah, I think you get a veteran to kind of bridge the gap because, again, when Brandon Ayuk comes back, there's no guarantee that he's going to be perfect, 100%, ready to roll, like be that. You're going to ease him back into the lineup. Just like last year, he kind of took some time to get back into form. And just when he was getting ready, he got hurt, like you said. So I think it would be smart to get a veteran. I mean, I think we all have high expectations for guys like Cowing and Pearsall. Pearsall, hamstring injury. I don't know how much, that's going to affect him moving forward, but we'll see. Hopefully he can shake it off and be ready. But even still, and Jennings, we know he's a dog, but he's going to get a lot of double teams. You need another guy. I know they got Kittle, but you just need more weapons out there. So I feel like, yes, bringing in a veteran who could come in for at least, 9-10 weeks and just really play at a good level. And then once BA comes back, kind of segue, and then you have more receivers than anything. It's
well, and you never know who's going to get hurt. If Jennings goes down, if Pearsall goes down, then at least you got somebody else there. One thing we know for sure, it's not going to be this guy. This is one of your posts, so I'm going to throw that out there. It's not going to be Trent Taylor. He's on the IR, and he never was going to be. I think he's there because he has a lot of friends there. He's probably a culture guy. So he's on IR.
Yeah, I think Amari Cooper, you said, was – I talked to this – actually, I had the same comment conversation with Larry a couple of weeks ago, and I said Amari Cooper. He said maybe like Keenan Allen or something. Honestly, I'd take either one of them at this point, but I don't know if Keenan Allen would take a certain veteran minimum to play. So I think Amari Cooper.
And that's true. And some of these guys might say, well, wait a minute. When he comes back, what does that mean for me? We'll figure it out when we get there. Like, I don't want to do that.
Another Devondre Campbell situation.
There we go. Didn't want to get off the field, that guy. And then he just walked off. What a mess that was. God, Devondre Campbell. Man, he looked slow. It looked like, dude, if you or I had the football, we can probably get past him. He just can't shift. He's like, oh,
yeah.
He's so slow. So slow. Okay, so as we get towards the end of the show here, I wanted to ask you, this is kind of a question that I asked, some content creators, big Niner fans. And I talked about this on my show this morning, but it was worded a little bit differently. So I'm going to ask you, Raj, what is your worst moment in 49er history in your life that you witnessed? Right now, there's kind of a lot of them. But what's the worst one that comes to your mind when you think of the Niners in terms of something bad?
There's just so many of them, man. But okay, so I'm gonna say one that we've all. I bet you the chat's all gonna say Kyle Williams. I think that right there is the universal answer for everybody. Kyle Williams, right? That whole situation. But one that I saw personally live, that I witnessed with my eyeballs live, was the Jaquiski Tartt drop pick against the Rams. I was at that game, and we were rolling. I was like, oh, my God, we punching our ticket. If we would have won that game, we win the Super Bowl. 100%. I 100% believe it. This man, Jaquiski Tartt, I don't know what you think. I was sick to my stomach. I wanted to throw up, man. I wanted to throw up. And then after that game, walking back to the car, the Rams fans chanting, oh, my God, and taunting us. That was probably the worst moment in my 49ers history, in my 49ers experience.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
It was bad. We got in a fight. We got like people cussing out. I was like you couldn't say nothing because Jaquiski Tartt.
Because you lost. So you're just like, shut up, you suck.
Yeah. Oh man, that was the one for me personally. But universally, I think Kyle Williams. I think most Niner fans will agree with that.
So Papa J said this earlier, but we had to re-end of the show. He says Crabtree dropping the ball in the Super Bowl.
Oh. Well,
when did he do that? I remember the pass from Kaepernick, and he couldn't even fucking get to it. That was a horrible moment.
Harbaugh, I feel like never handing the ball to Frank Gore. Obviously, is one of those horrible moments. That was terrible.
That was horrible.
They try to.
You know what? It's funny we talk about that because Larry Krueger broke that down so well. About a year ago, that Super Bowl loss. He's like, they had him on their heels. They were gassed. You had an old Ed Reed and old Ray Lewis. And then what do? They call timeout. And it gives them all the time in the world to okay, we're ready to go. Yeah. And they had him on the heels. I was dude, just keep going. That was a bad one. That one, I remember after he threw the ball to the Crabtree, and it was fourth down, and he didn't catch it. I remember just.
I was sick. That game made me so sick. Jacoby Jones and that guy had nightmares. I remember I turned off my phone. I said, don't talk. I left. I drove for like hours. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I come back, my phone. Oh, did I see the Super Bowl? Of course I saw the fucking Super Bowl. It's tough. I was sick.
Rob D says the last 30 years. Okay. I can't argue with that. Bowman getting injured and Greenlaw getting injured, that was pretty bad. That was pretty bad.
Bowman was bad.
Brock Purdy's first AFC Championship, he would have diced up the Eagles. I think he could have won that game.
Yeah.
Bebop. Go ahead.
Another one that comes to mind, they mentioned Crabtree. Richard Sherman intercepting the ball when Crabtree.
Yeah.
You remember, that's why you throw the ball to a sorry ass receiver. I can't believe I didn't think of that one.
That was going to be mine. I was going to tell you that.
Okay.
Look, we've lost in the Super Bowl 3 times, and those were all fucking heartbreaking. But the game against the Seahawks in the NFC title game, there was so much bad blood between the Niners and the Seahawks. I don't think we've ever had that big a rivalry in the past 5-10 years. That was at its peak.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember Kaepernick throwing that ball on the run, and he hit Bolden for a touchdown. It was like, ah! It was just so intense. And then, Sherman tips it, interception, and they get in the fight in the end zone, and then he starts talking shit. Oh, I hated the Seahawks.
I remember I threw my remote, batteries exploded, turned the TV off. I was done. I was so mad. And then, of course, all day, the next day on SportsCenter, that's why you don't try me with the song. I was like,
it was just like salt in the wound, It was like,
oh my God.
And then the worst part about it was that, every time Kaepernick would throw at Sherman, he intercepted. Every time, even that game, deep down inside, you're like, God damn it, Cap! He told you don't throw it over there. Why'd you throw it over there for?
You keep doing it every time.
He told you don't do that. Why do you keep doing that for?
I know.
He told you.
Right. He told your ass, man.
It was so horrible.
He gave him a warning.
It was so horrible. That one hurt the most because I hated them so much, the Seahawks. And then the way they won, all the shit talking, I was just like, and then they just went to the Super Bowl and they completely crushed the Denver Broncos. I was like, oh God.
I know.
And then, but you know what though, it was all worth it because in the end they played against the Patriots and they lost in the Super Bowl on that interception. That felt great. I was really happy about that.
I was like, oh, redemption. But then at the same time, I'm like, oh, fuck, why am I happy? Because we didn't win either. So.
We didn't win either. I swear to God, that was the one time where I was 100% a pure Patriots fan for that one night, and they won. We were dancing and singing, like we won it, and we didn't. We just wanted to see them lose.
I was acting happier than the Patriots fans I know. They were like, "Are you New England fan?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm fucking Seahawks hater. They lost."
Yeah,
man.
they just the Seahawks talk so much shit to the Niner fans. Even Pete Carroll would talk shit. It was just like, I love seeing them lose. Yeah, that's that was a good one. And then one that really hurt was Jimmy Garoppolo missing Emmanuel Sanders.
Yeah. Oh, that Super Bowl to the Chiefs was brutal, man. I mean,
that was a brutal one because they were dominating.
Tyreek Hill wasp play. After that, everything fell apart, and then you missed the pass to Sanders. Everything was just bad. That game was nasty. And then the last Super Bowl, I was at that Super Bowl in Vegas. When CMC fumbled, I was just like, oh shit, that was a bad omen.
Bad omen.
You go into overtime in the Super Bowl and lose. I was just like, gotta be kidding me. I mean, that game had me sick to my stomach. Plus, I mean, you buy Super Bowl tickets. It wasn't a cheap ticket. So
no, it wasn't like,
go home and knowing you just lost $9,000 and your team didn't win the Super Bowl is like, God damn, that was disgusting.
Those tickets are not cheap. And one way you can save money is if you go to SeatGeek.com and use promo code DreAreaSports, you'll save up to $20 on your first purchase over at SeatGeek.com. So you could have saved $20 if you had done that.
$9K ticket, man. So I should have known. Next time I should have used your promo code.
Hey, that'll get you a beer, maybe.
Yeah,
we're also brought to you by Power Brand Systems. Use promo code 300POWER to save up to $300 on your first purchase at Power Brand Systems. They will design and build you a website for whatever your needs are for a small business, big business, YouTube channel, social media account. You need a website built, they will do it for you. And if you use promo code 300POWER, you can save up to $300 on your first purchase over at Power Brand Systems. You want to see what they can do, go to my website, which is nicotina.net. There are memberships available under Dre Area Sports, or you can simply just go to Patreon and join the Patreon under Dre Area Sports. That's another great way to support the channel. And last but not least, we're brought to you by BetUS. Use promo code Dre Area Sports, and they will match you up to 125% on your first 3 deposits over at BetUS. So definitely check those out. Raj, dude, this was a blast. We have to do it again sometime, man.
Well, absolutely, man. Hit me up. You got my information. Just hit me up, and we could definitely make it work. It was fun. I think we had a good show today. I was happy, and the ending. We're talking about depressing moments, but you brought me back in with the SeatGeek promo. I'm gonna have to do that. But let me tell you one last thing.
Yeah.
The other thing that pissed me off about that last Super Bowl we lost in Vegas, they didn't even know the damn overtime rules. Are you?
Oh, yeah, I know. They're like, why is it? What?
I just checked. Harvard grad. Oh, I didn't know the rule. No, you went to Harvard. You don't know the rules in overtime. You did not go to Harvard. What did you study? Cosmetics? Come on, man.
Oh my God. MSQ is questioning your Super Bowl ticket that it was sponsored.
Was not. I mean, I got money because I did like events and stuff, but I mean, I paid the money out of my own pocket. I mean, I probably made the money back pretty quickly, but yeah, I didn't get. Nobody bought my ticket. No sponsor said, "Here you go. Here's a free spot ticket." My buddy that I've known since high school, me and him are huge Niner fans. I went to the game with him, and so that was rough. That was a rough one.
And then we got Bebop saying we've had our worst turnovers in the Super Bowl. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, the Darrell Luter touching that ball, and then it got the Chiefs right back in that game. That's what we absolutely didn't need to happen. And, of course, special teams fucked us over. Papa J writes, I'm going old school, but with that championship loss to Green Bay in the NFC Championship in 95, yes, that was brutal too. We would have won the Super Bowl. And you know what? That was a problem with those 90s Niners is that, like, there was always the Cowboys. There was always the Packers that were just a little bit better than us, and we couldn't get past them. And we'd always lose in the NFC title game. It sucked.
Always.
Obviously, look, there's plenty of great moments. The pick at the stick was a great moment. The touchdown to Terrell Owens against the Packers, great moment. Touchdown to Vernon Davis against the Saints, great moment. So there's plenty of big, good moments for the Niners. But
100%.
I just wanted to ask you about that. But yeah. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I want to thank everyone who's in the chat. If you want to support the channel, you can do so by going to Patreon and joining my Patreon. It doesn't cost you a ton of money, just $3. That's all I ask. If you want to support the channel, or go to my website, which is nicotina.net, and there are memberships available under Dre Area Sports. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our SF Niners, to Raj, because he's providing premier content all day long. At every hour, he's just posting it. Sometimes, I'll tell you what, sometimes he gets it out before even the mainstream media gets it out. And I'm like, dude, he knows somebody. He knows somebody's tipping him off. Like, hey, this is about to happen. Because he's on it. He's on it. I'm like, how did he know?
Sometimes you just get the scoop. Sometimes I'm about to go see a patient real quick. I get the news. I'm like, all right, let me go post this real quick and go help Miss Smith over there with her fractured hip. So I'm grinding while I'm grinding, man. I'm grinding while I'm grinding. My boy.
They're like, I noticed you stopped. You stopped. Is everything okay? You're like, yeah.
Yeah, we're good, man. No, seriously, I'll be like mid-patient. I'm like, I'll be right back. And then I go take the little post.
She's like, are you on
that exercise machine? Because I work at a clinic, and I do home health. With home health, I got to have everything before I get to their room, to their house. Like in the clinic, I can set it up a way where, I'm going to put you on the exercise bike. And if I know, like, news is about to drop, I'm like, all right, well, you good on the bike over there, Miss Smith? Yeah, okay, cool. Okay, take them off, we good. So
she's like, Raj, where are you? I'm sorry. It was my mother. She needed something. Oh, okay. Oh, you're such a good boy.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you're such a good therapist. Yeah,
you take care of your mother. Oh. All right, guys. We'll see you guys next time. We'll have to do this again, Raj. I had a lot of fun doing this. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our SF 49ers. And until next time, go Niners. The season is so close. I can't wait. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching this video. If you want more of this content, then check out some of these recommended videos right here on your screen. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support the channel, you can do so by going to my website, which is nicotina.net, and there are memberships available under Dre Area Sports.